Right. Hello. So here I am. My name is Josh Kerr, and I'm 24 years old, and I'm supposedly in the prime of my life. Right? And here I am, completely lost, confused, absolutely failing to be good enough at anything. And honestly, I don't even trust my own sense of self anymore. Yeah, turns out turning 24 doesn't suddenly make everything make sense. Who knew? Is it 20? Let me see. 42. So, 24. I can't really say 24 is old, because considering that we live up to 80 now, it means that you spend the vast majority of your life actually being old and not being young. So, with that sense, I think you're young until you're 40 maybe, and then you start being old. But age is just a number, and those things like feeling old and feeling young are something that really depends on the person. There are people that can feel young at 50, and there are people that can feel old at 19. So age is just like this construct, but definitely when you are 24, people expect you to have your life figured out a little bit. 24 is this really awkward spot where your teenage years are definitely behind you, but you're not yet a fully grown functional adult. Like, I don't have a house yet, I don't have a steady relationship, I don't have much of the things that people associate with being an adult. But what even is adulthood? According to the dictionary, adult means someone who's reached their full growth and biological maturity. Scientifically, they say your brain only matures at 25, so that means I still have one more year to do shit and blame it on being young. But legally, you're an adult when you're responsible for your actions, and that is 18 at some countries, 21 at other countries. But still, when you are 18, you kind of have that, like, I just turned 18, let me figure some stuff out, I have time. When you're 19, you're still a teenager, like, you're still 19, you're not even 20 yet, so you still have all this leeway of things to do. When you're 20, like, at least for me, I was in the middle of college, so everyone knew what I was doing, 21 and 22, it kind of flows through that. But once you graduate, once you're 24, I think people change the way they look at you. So the difference I perceive between being an adult, being seen as an adult, and not being seen as an adult is that I'm expected to hold a lot more responsibility. So adulthood is basically responsibility. It means that there's no other person around you that is responsible for your acts, like your parents were before, or like your teacher is when you were in a classroom, or when the grown-up is when you were a kid. Adulthood means that you are the grown-up, you are the responsible. And honestly, growing up sucks, responsibility sucks, and when most things rely on yourself, you don't have a way to shift the blame, the blame is always yours. The blame for everything that went right or wrong in your life is always yours. It's your responsibility. Of course, we have social and other factors that are beyond your control, but the responsibility for making it work or not, for having a good life or not, for being happy or not, is you. And you are the most interested in that, so that's fair. It would be very bad, it would be very worse than if you had to rely on other people to get the things you need. When you're a grown up and something breaks in your house, you have to clean it up, you have to fix it, there's no one around to fix it for you. If a cockroach appears in the middle of nowhere in your room, you have to kill it, you have to be brave enough to be able to do and kill it and throw it away and stuff. And school depends on you, work depends on you, you have to pay your own bills, and it sucks. The main thing is that things rely on yourself to be the way that you want them to be. But even though we are told this tale of, like, you are responsible for your own actions, everything depends on you, stuff is really unfair. It doesn't mean that the one that makes the most effort will get ahead. It doesn't mean that... Basically, it doesn't mean anything. Anything could happen. You just have to do the things and hope for the best. And when we have social media, we feel that everyone is ahead of us because, I am 24 and I'm here sitting in my room talking to this camera, but there are people that are in the Maldives, that are buying Ferraris, that are having this wonderful, great life that only a few people get to live, but as we are scrolling, it's all we see. So we're like, maybe I have to do this, but there's no way for me to do this, you know? So does my life suck? And even if you don't compare yourself, you are successful, everything goes right in your life, we are still living in a late stage capitalism society. There's climate change, there's a bunch of social issues, and to top it all off, you keep electing the weirdest people.
But I gotta remember there's good things about it too. Like the fact that none of that's happening to me. Score!
Do you know when I realized I was getting old? It was actually seeing celebrities and famous people and athletes being older than me. Like, it was very shocking to me, and even though I could never kick a ball to survive my life, to see athletes being my age or younger. Like, a football player, like a soccer player at my age is considered to be in like the middle of his career, and that's insane to me because I always looked at players and they were always older than me. And when you are in a life like that, when everybody that you look up to is older than you, I feel like if I really made an effort, I could become a professional soccer player, for example, or a professional singer, even though I couldn't kick a ball to save my life, and I can't sing Happy Birthday in the right tone.
Happy birthday to you.
And it's a shock seeing someone younger than you being able to, I don't know, talk, function like a normal human being, being successful. And especially to me, like, I was always the baby brother, the younger brother. So I was always surrounded by older people. I was the youngest of 4 siblings, so I was always the youngest. Every time in my life, I was the youngest. In my family, I was the youngest. Then I did an exchange program. I lived in Dublin for a year. I was the youngest. And when I came back to college, the first experience where I had friends, they were actually younger than me. And I remember when I was younger, looking at people when they turned 24, like I remember when my brother turned 24, and I looked at him with like, I idolized him because I was like, this is a person who has everything figured out. They are on this phase of their life where they know where they want it and they are on their way of getting it. And either I was very wrong about people when they are 24, or I am very behind. I definitely don't know what I want to do, and I definitely am not in the way of getting it. And it's wild because when you're younger, when you're a teenager, life has this ladder-like structure because you have middle school, high school, then college. Everybody in your class is around your age. Everybody who's older than you is more advanced than you, and everybody who's younger than you is less advanced than you. So everybody that you looked up to, being celebrities or professionals of careers that you want to follow, are all older than you, which gives you the impression that if you take enough time, if you put enough effort and time on it, you can also become that great. It's that thought of, if I work hard enough, if I do enough things, maybe I'll get to the place that my idols are when I'm their age. But that just completely shifts when the people you admire, some of them are your age or some of them are younger than you now, you know, so you don't have the same illusion of time, you don't have the same illusion of greatness that you can possess. When I was young, it felt like everything was possible because I had all this time. It felt like all the gates of the world, all the doors of the world were open, and the only thing that I had to do was choose. But that was not actually the case, and when you get older, those gates start closing down and your life becomes more what you will actually be. Honestly, I never thought that I would actually be 24, not because I thought I was going to die young, but because it just felt so far away. Like, I felt like by the time I would be 24, I would be a completely different person than I was at 14 and 15. And in some ways I am, but in most ways I'm not. In most ways, I'm still the same consciousness experiencing this world. So I didn't become a different person as I thought I would have to become to live this life. But then time kept passing. Like, I was 14, then I was 15, then I was 16, and I kept waiting for life to start. I kept waiting to become this different person. And I thought that maybe, I don't know, like it would be like in a TV show, a song would start playing and a collage with the pictures of all my friends and all my life would start. And from the moment on, everything would make sense, everything would click, and I would be like, okay, this is officially my life now.
Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday, Friday, happy days. The weekend comes, my cycle hums, ready to race to you.
But that never happens. Life starts the day you were born. Life is not a story. Life doesn't begin with a big exciting event like a bride that left her fiancé at the altar, going into a random cafe in New York and meeting her childhood friend and becoming this friend group where everything suddenly makes sense. That doesn't happen. Life is just much more complex than that. Life doesn't have a 3-act structure with beginning, middle, and end. Life is just this really big thing where you experience a bunch of stuff and that's it. It doesn't make sense. And time doesn't warn you, you know? Time doesn't warn you that it's passing. And if you're not paying attention, you don't even notice it. There's this John Lennon quote that sums it up well. That he says that life is what happens to you when you're busy making other plans. And even though I'm still really young, I feel old for a bunch of things. Like I feel like I'm too old for a lot of things. And in case you didn't know, time only moves forward. So I'm now getting younger than I am, which means I'm just going to get older and older and older. And what worries me is how fast time goes by. It's like I remember listening to people telling me that when I was younger and being like, okay, but like 5 years is still 5 years. But 5 years goes like that if you are not paying attention, you know? And it went very far from 0 to 24. But my biggest worry is will it feel the same? Will it go just as fast from 24 to 30? From 30 to 40, to 50, to 60, to 70, to 80? Will all my life just fly by? Am I going to get old? Will I even make to 80? What will the world look like? And after 80, will I die? What happens then? It's incredible how quickly time flown by from the time I was 12 to now being 24. I always saw 24 as something so distant, something so in the future, but then I blink and all of a sudden the future is here. 24 is not a plan anymore, it's a reality. You have to act now and you have to act fast and you have to go, 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 go. Confirmed. I had some this year. 2024 was the first year in like a long time that I had a New Year's resolution list. I think I had one since 2017, and that's because I was very happy in 2023, and I figured I needed some sort of structure to get out of it. And now comes the end of 2024, and I'm not much happier. I am happier. I am better, but the thing that I take out the most from this year is that I'm hopeful. You know, I feel like I confirmed my fear that life is not much more than what you do in your day. Life is definitely not the stuff in your mind. It's the activities, the experience you go through in your daily life. And if you are doing only things that you don't enjoy doing, maybe that's why you're unhappy. And that's definitely my story in 2023. So I was telling myself that 2024 would be this transition year for me. It would be the year that I figure out who I am now, what I want to do, and what's next in my life. One of my favorite albums of all time, and that really resonated with me during that time, is Station to Station by David Bowie. And Station to Station is basically this album that Bowie did at the height of his cocaine addiction. Spitz, the guy who wrote Bowie's biography, said that Station to Station was Bowie writing love songs at a time where he didn't have love at his life. And to me, it symbolizes this transition from going from where you are to where you want to be and figuring all of that out and wanting stuff that you don't have yet. That's what Station to Station symbolizes to me. Looking for something that he doesn't have yet. He's trying to get lulls himself. He self-deprecates about losing all that time to figure it out. In the title track, he says, "It's too late to be late," and I definitely felt that. In this year, it's too late to be late. Like, it's okay that I took my time, but now it's too late to be late. I think I just needed some changes. So my plan for this year was to have the perfect routine. Since 2023 was my last year of university, now I have all this freedom in my hands where I didn't have to study anymore, and I didn't have to have all those stupid commitments university brings to your life. So I had all of a sudden free time. For the first time in like 4 years, I had all of this free time in my hands. And I thought that I would make it worth a while and figure out who I am and what to do next. Because when I graduated from university, instead of feeling like I accomplished something, I felt like I lost time. And that's a very hard feeling to get when you finish something that takes that long. I ended this huge chapter in my life. Like, everybody talks about the college years as like the best years of your life, and I lived that, and I ended it more lost after university than I was before going to university. I like to call my college years the oblivion years. I felt like during that time I lost everything that made me like myself. Creativity, these videos, my hobbies. I felt like all of me was sucked into this university life, like with the parties and everything, and I became very out of focus because I was not feeling like myself. I was not present in my life. Things started feeling very automatic, you know, like it felt like my presence in my life didn't matter. Things felt very mechanical, like I was just doing time, you know, I was not really doing anything interesting. Like I did not want to do anything with anyone at any time. Like I at the end of it, I was just so exhausted that I did not want to do anything with anyone at any time. I just wanted to lay in bed and stay in bed watching videos and doing other silly stuff, but I wanted to be away from that environment as much as possible. Therapy says we need to be kind to ourselves, and being kind to me, I feel like I try to do stuff that I really enjoy doing. I was studying literature and English, and in the middle of all of that, everybody talking about linguistics and everybody talking about literature and all those classic authors, like we were discussing Hamlet in the class or the Canterbury Tales and other. I just was there. I managed to be able to research and produce podcasts as like a literary genre, so that was very cool. You know, like I did something that was of my interest in that framework of university, but I didn't really fully enjoy it because I had so much problems with that. Like it was so much work as well. Like I just didn't. It wasn't the same thing. Like I was trying to get something that I couldn't get from that environment. And I did meet some of the greatest people. I had some of the greatest experiences of my life, and somewhere along those years, I
grew up.
I really grew as a person. I became more mature. I was more able to do stuff that I didn't like as much. The whole problem is that during those years, I just ignored myself, and I was just existing, doing stuff that I didn't want to do.
And not doing the stuff that I wanted to do.
I felt like I was just living this character's life. But no more of that in 2024. And now I will do things that I really have interested in, and that will lead me to a path to a better place, I guess. So I knew what I didn't want to do, but I definitely did not know what I wanted to do. But I had some hints. So I used to love creating content and making videos, but I also was very ashamed of it. But look at what I had to say back in this 2019 video. The meaning of my life is to create things. Now I feel ashamed of knowing that I knew this part of myself so well when I was 19, but I completely forgot it by the time I turned 24. Somewhere along the years, I lost that belief, but not because I did not want to do videos anymore, because I didn't want to create anymore, but because I thought of reasons that were good enough to give up. You know, I thought that I had to do something that I was actually good at, something that had a clear money-making path, and something that it was easier for me, which I also didn't do considering I became an English teacher. And that's how I went to university. And that thing turned out to be languages and explaining things to people. So I went to university to study literature and linguistics. And I chose also because it was a course that was easier to get in, it was easier to do. I felt like it was shorter than most courses. So I also chose basically my comfort zone. I chose to not have to do an effort that to me felt too big for me to do. So I chose my comfort zone, and that was definitely English. And it was easy in the sense that I didn't have to do much to have the results that I wanted. So I felt like I didn't make a lot of effort. And most of all, I had no interest in learning any of those things that were teaching me or doing any of the things that university life brings you. I was never a person that got to like university social life, you know, the pubs and all the stuff they do. It was never my scene. I never enjoyed it. I think I never found my group of people. And when I did found it, it was broken down by teenage drama and by some weird stuff that happened. So I became very alone. And I did most of it in this college very tired and in autopilot. So the last 5 years feel like a boring and long fever dream, basically, where I just live life. I just survive life. And I blame myself for not having realized this sooner and maybe dropped out, for not having tried something different, for not having the courage of leaving my comfort zone earlier. But the good thing is that all of that made me realize that I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life, you know, and that I wanted to do this, that I want to put my effort in the places where my interest also is, that I wanted to do the things that I always dreamed about, and then now I could do it. Like, nothing stops me from recording this and posting it, and all those mental walls that I put in front of my dreams, I think like now I can finally start taking them off. Getting back to 2024, my checklist for the perfect routine was very simple. Getting a job so I don't feel useless, and I also give this teaching thing a try. Eating healthier and going to the gym, which I didn't do much. I did eat healthier though. Take better care of myself and go back to making videos, which still counts because this is coming out in 2024, so it counts, okay? Well, I got a job and ate a little healthier, but most of all, I rested.
Without further ado,
I feel like I could have accomplished more goals if I had actually done the stuff that I wanted to do and left my bed. But I needed this year to be a deep rest year. Like I needed to have like a very deep rest, you know, and I did it. I also had fun. I think this year was the year that I had the most fun in my life, because I always had fun as this very well-established picture, and especially when you are in university, it can feel like that. Fun is going to parties, is meeting a bunch of friends, is getting in this social group that is the best social group. But to me, fun is something very different than that, and I feel like I finally learned what fun means to me, and boy did I have fun this year, did I enjoy myself this year, without the guilt of feeling like I needed to do something else to be considered fun. And as I said, maybe I could have done a lot better, and maybe I could have pushed my goals forward. But this year, I don't know why, sometimes when the choice was laying in my bed and pushing my goals to tomorrow, I just decided to stay in bed and procrastinate and procrastinate and procrastinate. I also could, for the first time, experience the sense of freedom. Finally, I didn't have school or university, so I had all this free time, and the time was mine. I didn't have to do anything to anyone anymore. I was graduated. I was my own person, and that's also like the sense of freedom is something very good. And now I have an easy life, the life that I wanted last year. But easy does not bring fulfillment, easy does not bring joy, easy brings freedom, easy brings free time. But freedom and time without a meaning, without purpose, are just empty.
Don't fight it. Let my presume like it's magic. You're gonna love being now. Such a wonderful thing. It's okay, hey. Do you not remember anything? Your real name? Your heart? You won't even remember that you're dying.
You know when you have something that is so good on paper, that is everything you designed, but it still doesn't feel good? I designed the life I had this year to have free time, and I wanted an easy life, especially after university where I had such a hard time with it. Like, oh my god, bug. With all those stupid commitments, all those meetings, I did research, I did scientific research, so that was a very bad thing for me because I had to do all of those things, all of those classes. But now, after living this year, I realized that I didn't want an easy life. I wanted a life that I could be interested in. And I had no interest in university. Like, I had all of those things to do, and to me they were all senseless and meaningless and like dumb even. Like, I couldn't see how that would help me being a professional, or how that would help me, I don't know, how that would help me at all. Like, it's even with knowing more stuff, you know, because I didn't really learn from classes. You do learn from like reading the books and from doing a lot of stuff, but from the classes it felt like a waste of time. It felt like I was wasting 4 hours of my life in the university, and the people were also not that great, you know. You have sort of university drama all along, like I had some of it. So it was a very heavy life for me, and I wanted out of it, and now I'm out of it and I want something else. Now I can just simply see that because I had no interest in what I was doing, every little effort felt like I was burning the midnight oil. So every little thing I had to do felt much bigger than it actually was, you know? I had to study, I had to write an essay, and it wasn't just simply an essay for me. It was just like this big mountain of meaningless effort I had to convince myself to put on in order to not have much difference going on in my life, not learning anything, just doing like this, just being autopilot to do like the next task ahead. And that's fine, that's life in a way. You have to do the task that's ahead of you, but I think you do have to have some interest in your life, or that feels much heavier than it has to be. I often think that all of this is just an elaborate excuse because I'm a spoiled brat who only do the things that I want to do. So I made all these rational things to justify my behavior. And I get this feeling now specifically because now I am at the place that I figured out that to go to the places that I really want to go, I have to give up all this life I built over the last 5 years. And even though I know that this isn't the life that I want to live, I'll still miss it like hell. Like, I still love this. It's still my comfort zone and it's so comfortable. And I know it's slowly killing me, but God, I had a very good time here. I had a very good time during those years. And I feel afraid that I didn't enjoy this life as much as I could. I blame myself for not being able to love this life because it had everything that I wanted. It was easy, you know, and I still wasn't able to do it. But maybe we deserve something more than easy. Maybe we deserve to do stuff that is interesting to us. Maybe I deserve to have a purpose. Maybe I just want to have a purpose, you know, and that's good enough. Or is it because I'm afraid of failure and that so I procrastinate and become lazy and just do the things that I think will be easy for me? Now I learned that when I'm not doing anything interesting, when I'm doing all the stuff that is easy, that doesn't take much effort, that doesn't require my presence for it to work, when that happens, I lose interest in life itself, and that makes life difficult. That makes life more difficult than if I actually had to work towards something with meaning. Movies become boring. I don't want to talk with anyone. I just want to isolate myself, and music just turns into those repetitive sounds because life loses a bit of meaning, and the only good thing to do is nothing, is rest. Because if nothing amounts to anything, why do any effort at all? I just want to lay in my bed and not exist for the whole day, you know, just pretend I don't exist for the day and rest. Sometimes what seems like the easiest route to go on is not the path you want to take, and then the easy becomes hard. Sometimes to avoid challenges, I ended up losing myself. And when you lose yourself, everything becomes a challenge. And when you lose yourself, everything is the same. Everything becomes a loop. Your life becomes just this interminable loop going round and round, you know? And maybe that's just adult life and I should just grow up, but I'm not willing to accept that just yet. I still have something in me. I still think I deserve something else. I still think I need one more try in this thing. I still think like I can do that. And maybe if I don't do that now, I won't have that time in the future. I think I deserve, or better yet, I need one more try in this thing that I once called the meaning of my life. But some doubts come into my mind. Do I still have time? Have I wasted my youth because I didn't commit strong enough? I wasn't determined enough to follow my dreams? Have I lost this opportunity forever? I don't know. The only thing I know is that today I can make a video and I'm taking that chance. Well, calm down. Here's the thing. Everybody has their own time in life. And it's very easy to look around at people and say, oh, I'm behind. But really, what does that even mean? What does that even mean, being behind to someone? No one lived your life. No one had your experiences. No one had your circumstances. And no time in life is ever truly wasted. Even things that feel like failure, that you consider to be failures, you can consider things to be failures, or things that are detours to your path, things that you don't really want to do, are part of the journey and are part of the way life wants to take you to the place you want to be. You know, it's not even that life wants that, it's the way that you have to get to the place you want to be, and that's the path you have to take. Maybe sometimes we do bad choices, but that's also part of it. Like, doing a bad choice is part of life. Every time you make a choice, we are risking doing a bad choice. That is not a reason good enough to stop making choice. And comparison is the killer of joy. I think I spent so much time looking at other people's lives and looking at what other people had and comparing myself to them and feeling like I was not good enough and feeling like I was never going to be good enough. Having those types of thoughts like, why can't I be like them? Why can't my life be like this? Why can't my life be easy like them? But the truth is, someone else's success doesn't make you a failure, and you don't know what they feel as success, you know? You don't know if that was easy to get, if that was not. You truly don't know anyone's journey but your own, you know? So it's hard for you to compare. It's unfair. You don't have all the equations. You don't have all the variables that make the comparison possible. You know, like in university, to compare something, either we compare in a very specific thing, and that didn't mean something is better than the other, or we compare in the whole. But with human lives and with being a person, you can't compare it to anyone else. The only thing you have, the only life you have, the only person you are is yourself. And I think that's the good thing about being an adult and being responsible for your life, because now I can mess my life in the way that I want to, you know? I don't need to mess up my life in the way that anyone else wants to. Like, I make my own mistakes. And that's very good to say. And truly, your journey is just yours, and the only person you should compare yourself to is who you were yesterday. And that's it. So here I am again, still 24 years old. I didn't age a year yet. And honestly, I'm not the person I thought I'd be by now. And I think maybe that's okay, and maybe that's kind of the point of living. It's just you're always figuring out who yourself is, and the point is not to have everything figured out by now. It's just going every day, step by step, and building something that you might be proud of. And I don't know exactly who I'll become in 10 years. Like, me at 34 could be a completely different video with a completely different person disagreeing with everything that I said here. But I do know that I want this video to be a turning point, and I want to become, and I want to be in 10 years and now, a person who tries. I don't want to be a person who lets feelings like fear and shame get in the way of my goals and getting in the way of the things that I want to do. I want to do things because I wanted to do them and because I want to try, and I don't want to feel like I lost time ever again. I don't want to feel like I lost myself in time ever again. And I want to be someone who has a purpose in life. And I know everything is meaningless and yada yada, but I want to be someone who can see why I do stuff when I do them, you know? Like, I want to be able to build stuff in your life, and even though other things out of my control can be purposeless and can be meaningless in a way that's kind of even fun, I want to be doing something that has inner purpose to me. And that's all because I want to keep moving forward. I don't want to be one of those people who get stuck in the past because they lived a good thing or because they lived a bad thing or because they are attached to this one experience. I want to still be open to everything and keep pushing forward and keep living life, keep having experiences every day. I want to be someone who looks at their past with kindness, at their future with hope, and at their present with courage. If you feel lost like I do, just remember that life doesn't come with a map or where you have to go or how you should go there. Life doesn't come with instructions, and we're all just here trying to find our way and do our best. And even though I felt lost, I felt like life was taking me nowhere, I still lived my golden years here. I still feel like I lived this very good period, and I'll be missing it with all my heart, but now I definitely need to keep moving forward. I need the next chapter. So take your time, be kind to yourself, take the time to know yourself, but do act, do start, because as Bowie sings in Station to Station, it's just too late to be late. Oh, and don't give up on what makes you you. So, I guess I see you at 25. Bye bye.